Alright folks, how's it going? Loki the Scottish Rapper here. Quick thoughts on gender neutral bathrooms. Obviously it's part of a drive towards a more progressive society that's inclusive, that removes barriers for people who have a certain kind of configuration of identity that makes it harder for them to access certain things. Obviously, as we move towards a society that's more inclusive, this can sometimes create fault lines and points of friction between different viewpoints that see different priorities and also see the advance of one section of society as an impediment to their own rights, needs or preferences. Obviously we have people on both sides of this who take extreme views. I'm not saying extreme as in that they shouldn't take those views, but usually those people have particularly vested interests in certain things, either because it directly affects them or it directly affects someone that they know, or it's part of very sort of strong, strident politics that they believe in so strongly that they'll often engage in activism and direct action and attempt to disrupt the sort of general movement of the general direction of travel of whatever it is that they personally disagree with. For the rest of us though, a lot of these issues aren't actually as controversial as they might seem. Gender neutral bathrooms is an example of one of these issues that sometimes become a kind of nebula of hyperbole, and people offer lots of opinions about it without actually considering what it really means. So gender neutral bathrooms, usually in every instance where I've seen them, whether it be in kind of like, sort of vegan cafe venues or public spaces or public buildings, usually consists of a kind of corridor with doors on the right hand side or the left hand side or sometimes on both sides, and most of these doors will have a sign that indicates that you can use this toilet regardless of the fact whether you identify as male or whether you identify as female. So the toilets themselves are actually just like a completely closed off toilet. It's not even a sort of open cubicle type thing that you might get in a female toilet or a male toilet. These toilets are actually completely closed off. So it's much like the toilet that you would use in someone's house, which of course are gender neutral by definition. Sometimes along with the gender neutral toilets, you might get another toilet that is still gender specific. Perhaps it was there before the thing was upgraded, and people can feel free to use that. Obviously, if people don't feel free to use that, they can go somewhere else close by. There will always be a gender specific alternative. But I think once confronted with the sort of the moderate nature of the gender neutral toilet, then if you need to go, you'll just use it. I don't imagine it being any great impediment to anyone, because when you see it in real life, it's unremarkable. Now, some of the fears around gender neutral toilets is that this is an erosion of the scientific understanding of the distinction between the sexes. People often make claims, they make moral claims, like there should be no difference in how men or women are treated, or they make empirical claims like men and women are biologically indistinguishable. Often people don't make distinctions between the moral claims that they make and the empirical claims. Often this can create a whole subset of discussions that can be both interesting and intractable. All you need to know is that if you come across a gender neutral toilet, the chances are it won't even occur to you. That's how moderate these changes are. The argument and debate about gender and how much of this is about adhering to the whims of activists, how much of it's about adhering to the reality of science, and how much of it is about a meeting of both of those worlds to come to some sort of sensible conclusion regarding making sure that people who have gender specific issues that are out with the realm of understanding of most of us are still accounted for and still feel included. It's very easy for someone like me who walks around all the time to forget what it's like for someone who uses a wheelchair. I don't think it would be a very progressive position for me to take, to be against putting ramps into buildings, putting elevators into buildings so that people with those specific needs are accounted for, and thus I don't think it would be a very sensible step for someone like me to just dismiss the issue of gender out of hand. Yes, there are countless issues around how this cause is advanced, some of the techniques and methods deployed by some of the activists. Also a complete sort of lack of concern sometimes for counter-arguments, particularly from scientists who will say, well, there are differences between males and females and it's not as simple as just deciding that you're male or just deciding that you're female. But all of these issues aside, gender-neutral bathrooms in the context of all of this is a relatively inoffensive, sensible idea that ultimately isn't really going to affect anybody out there. As for it being applied in schools for children, I don't see the problem with it, as long as the same sort of preparations are made in terms of making sure that the toilets are adequately separated and partitioned off. And I don't see why they wouldn't be, because we tend to take more care where children are concerned than we do with adults. So those are just some thoughts. I wonder what you think. Is gender-neutral toilets a step too far? What are some of the issues around it? Have you seen gender-neutral toilets facilitated in a way that's different from how I'm describing, that might give rise to concerns, legitimate fears about it? Or have you experienced it much like me and seen it and found it quite unremarkable? Let me know, and also please subscribe. More videos on the way. And on that note, peace.